Welcome to the Modern Watchman podcast, where faith meets the front lines of culture.
We break down what's happening in the world, what's behind it, and how believers can stand strong in truth.
We're not here to fear the times, we're here to understand them.
Because being watchmen means staying awake, staying ready, and staying grounded in the Word.
Let's get into it. Welcome to the Modern Watchman podcast with Tom and Wendy, coming from the tail end of Snowpocalypse.
I don't think maybe it is
Well,
the
it's
tail end.
Well,
Might
that's
rain.
true. We are supposed to get a little more snow
And then
today.
it's supposed to snow the next day. I don't know. Winter. We're coming from winter in Tennessee.
Well, it is
You
like
never know what you're gonna get.
catastrophic for a lot of the South, specifically Tennessee is like in a state of emergency. There's still lots of people without power, which would be like day 5 without power.
Our county fared pretty well overall.
The neighboring counties did not. We seem to be like on the bottom eastern chunk that got just
Wayne County and Lewis County really got hammered. Hardin County got hammered.
And Nashville, our church that is out of Nashville is like, we're canceling service on Sunday. Just come help, please. Like, we're still in a bad shape, which I imagine it's much more challenging in a city. Or am I making that up? Do you think it's more challenging in a city to like restore power and order and streets? I feel like all the resources are there than rural.
I mean, I think there's a lot of neighborhoods, but I think a lot of the power's underground in a lot of those neighborhoods. So I don't really know. But
Well,
I haven't seen it. I'm sure it's not good. I'm sure it's bad, but there's
what I have learned through snow ice storm of 2026 is community is so critical and something that I think we take for granted a little bit because it is really, we depend, I mean, this is kind of in theme with our podcast. We depend really heavily on government, whether we like it or not, to fix our problems when they break, to restore our power or to provide us with aid or food or whatever in lieu of our own preparation, in lieu of our own establishing of community around us. I mean, is that fair to say? Even some of the most fierce, like I'm a patriot and I'm like independent and blah blah blah, we still sometimes fail to recognize the power of our own actions to make a difference. I mean, we were talking about a friend of ours that just like completely was not prepared. They were chanting this thing from the rooftops for a week. It's gonna be so bad, ice, 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 ice. And then still people were.
I just definitely think like I guess in my mind, I want to say if you live out in the country, but obviously this is happening to people in the city too.
For
But, it's just it's unfortunate that like being a prepper has become like a subset labeled group because really everyone should just have a little bit of preparation. And if some people want to get crazy and prepare for the apocalypse, then let them. But everyone should just be a little bit prepared. And, when we were the week leading up to
it's the middle of the day.
the week leading up to this storm, and, everyone's out buying kerosene heaters and propane heaters and all these things. And I mean, it's just and generators. And of course, everyone runs. Harbor Freight only carries like, probably 20 generators, right? Like they don't expect to sell that many unless this happens. And it's just one of those things like, yeah, all those people will have them now, but it's just an ounce of prevention beats a pound of cure. And it's great to not be running around in chaos. And to not be like, oh, now I have to spend $1,100 that I wasn't planning on spending all at once because I need to get a generator and I need this. And, it's just good to be prepared. And I mean, we're very blessed. And I try to not like I probably thanked God this last week dozens of times. I try to just be because we were prepared. Now, other things could happen that are, and I've dealt with them. I mean, we've had, remember that water leak we had 2 years ago that basically created a frozen geyser in the
Where?
back
Oh,
pasture.
yes.
I mean,
It was very
I'm
cool.
not trying to sound holier than
It was
thou.
a frozen ice cave
It
in the
was
middle of
in,
our
yeah,
pasture. It
and
was
it was a
very spectacular.
giant pain in the butt to deal with for me.
Yes.
And so I guess I'm saying, I'm not saying I'm immune to it. I'm not holier than thou. We were prepared for this one. Could it have been worse? Absolutely. And I was so grateful for the preparations that went in. And then you can also look at it in that, like, for every person that's prepared, that frees those resources up.
Little mic issue, and hopefully this will work. Having issues.
But yeah, we were prepared for this one. That was great. I was very grateful. But
I'm more just talking about, like, yes, being prepared, but one of the biggest preps is also community and knowing who around you, like having people check in on you, I guess, and
here,
like being able to check in on
but to
someone else.
finish,
Go
I
ahead.
do want to talk
Okay.
about, to finish that, like, if you're not prepared yourself, you're not much good to
Yeah.
anybody else, and so it still comes back to, like, you're either kind of weight in the community or you're a contributor to the community. And it's not like, there are people who have every right to be weight, for lack of a better term. If you're a 92-year-old little lady, that's exactly who we should be checking on, if they have enough wood for their wood stove, if they have enough fuel for their generator, if their power's on or not, or whatever. But, like, the rest of us are hopefully not weight. You know what I mean?
Whit was talking about a little couple that slept in their car because the power went out and they didn't have heat in their house, and so it was like an older couple that had to sleep in their car to keep warm. I mean, that's wild. This is craziness. And again, I think sometimes, and I'll be honest, I am this person. You think, okay, the power could go out. That means it could get cold. So we might not be able to cook. So we need to have lots of like sandwich stuff, and we need to, have wood for a wood fire or some other way to make heat. You know, I forget that means the water might not come out of your well, and you might not have drinking water, and you can't flush your toilets, you can't wash your dishes, you can't take a shower. Like, that is stuff that, we don't think necessarily all of the repercussions. Now, of course, that wouldn't necessarily be the case in a city. However, I know in 94, we talk about the ice storm of 94 around here. That's been so the conversation, because apparently it was just as bad or worse as this one. And they talked about even the people on city water, the water couldn't be pumped out of the city well.
Well, Lewis County is on a boil order right now.
Yeah, so
like
it's not, you're not
they
immune
got
just
water back
because
and all that,
you're
but
on. But again, whenever there's an emergency like this, especially where there's massive amounts of people that are having an issue at the same time, again, we only have the option to either depend on ourselves, depend on our community around us, or depend on the government. And the government is slow to act, and the government is limited in its ability, and the government is corrupt and blah blah blah. And I mean, again, just seeing Nashville and the city, and like,
well, I
they're
will
just
say,
so dependent on someone coming in to rescue them. They have to be.
the difference in living in, like, a rural county is, versus maybe Nashville, is, like, I would say the government is not as corrupt. You know what I mean? Like,
Down
we
here.
know our roads commissioner. We
Sure.
saw our
That's very
roads
true.
commissioner last night at the Republican Party meeting.
Yeah.
And while
We
luckily
know the
we didn't get
linemen.
quite as much challenge in Lawrence County as other counties, but I know, I'm not good friends with him or something, but I know the county executive of Lewis County, Jonah Keltner, and I mean, he's been, these are his neighbors. These is who he goes to church with. These people actually care deeply about
Sure.
their community. This is not people coming from 1,000 miles away handing out, freeze dried food or whatever.
Which brings me back to I sometimes take for granted the community that we have here, the officials that we have here, the efficiency. Like you said, the linemen live here. like they leave their own house with no power to go restore power. The LUS workers, Lawrenceburg Utility Services,
Yeah.
like they live in Lawrenceburg and they go out on their trucks. And a lot of those guys restored it all here and then headed out to some of these other counties
They're
locally.
still there. I think they're
Yeah,
in
that are
Wayne
moving
County
on
and
to help
Hardin
restore
County and
power in neighboring counties. There is something really sweet. I know I'm not like trying to get on you if you live in a city, but there is something really sweet about that rural living, although sometimes it's harder. In this case, it seems to not be any harder or easier than a city in this particular instance. But you are interconnected, and our community here is very spread out as far as our, kind of homesteader community that's over, gosh, several counties in our area, very connected with each other, all checking in on each other. Who has the biggest truck that can get over? Like one of our friends was on the far side of a low water bridge, and if you don't know what that is, because I did not before I lived in Tennessee, it's a road that drives through a creek, and typically the creek is fine to drive through, like even in a sedan, but obviously in storms, you can't get across the low water bridge in most vehicles, sometimes in any vehicle, right? So if you're on the opposite side of a low water bridge during a big weather event, you're kind of truly cut off from not yourself getting out, but other people getting to you. And so we had a friend that was out of power this whole time, running out of drinking water, running out of firewood. And she sent a stunning picture of like in the night, just pitch dark. Think of like rural living as it is, no power anywhere, like pitch freaking dark, cloud cover, moons, no stars, everything's covered up. And she's like, all of a sudden you see headlights kind of coming through the low water bridge. And she sent a picture of the headlights and a guy like illuminated by the headlights, like walking up to their house with water and firewood, just like, and you don't have service necessarily to call out and express to anybody what you need. We were getting very intermittent messages from her, um, you know, and the more rural you are, sometimes like you'll be in a pocket that's out. Maybe there's only 20 people out of power in that area. Well, you're last on the list because they're going to where there's 200 people out of power first before they're going to that. But it was just a really sweet week of seeing the community checking in on each other, and not just our homestead community, that was obvious, but like our larger church community, like our pastor reached out to
Have you
us.
been following Tony Sims?
I saw him
He is,
posting some stuff, but no, I haven't listened to what his videos are.
well, I mean,
He's a little local celebrity.
he's like a local TikTok. He's a local builder. He builds like
A
metal
hilarious
buildings and
gentleman.
shops for people. He's an absolute hoot, sweetest guy, and he for fun makes like TikTok videos that are just
A hit.
pretty original. You know what I mean? Like he's his own thing, and it's awesome. But
What's his TikTok? You gotta shout it out.
well, I think he's Vice Grips, and
I've never been on TikTok a day in my life.
well, either way, check him out.
How old
Vice
am I?
Grips on TikTok, but he's Tony Sims on Facebook. But he's a local guy, and he was just rallying. Everyone knows him, so people refer to him as like the mayor of Summertown. Summertown doesn't have a mayor like a fish in an official
Oh, I
capacity.
call Charles the
Uh,
mayor.
oh well, there could be a few of them, but he because he's so well known, he has a very broad reach on social media, right? So like if he posts something, it's going to
Yeah.
get a lot of traction, and people are going to see it. And he just used his account as basically just a
Cowboy 911.
yeah, a cowboy 911, like if you need something, holler at him, and
That's
people can
hilarious.
respond. Like he was helping and
Yeah.
driving around and getting people propane or wood or whatever they needed, but then people could just pop in the comments and be like, I got so and so, I've got it handled, and they would go do it. So kind of a little bit of like a Cajun Navy type thing. But definitely, again, one of the things that, in the big picture of like living in America, just how much it matters to live
Yeah.
with good people
Good people that
that are looking out for each other.
have skills. I feel really also blessed. My neighbor is like, can't sit still. And freaking as soon as that ice storm was building up on trees, he's out in his
Skid steer.
like getting the ice off our road. And man, did I take that for granted because he clears it all the way to the highway for us, or like,
Not the highway, but probably a mile or so.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that we can get to the bigger roads.
No, totally.
And man, 2 days ago, which the ice was like, let's see, today is Friday. So the ice was here last Saturday morning. Saturday, Sunday it iced. Monday it was still frozen. And then now Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's been like thawing, refreezing kind of thing because we've had a little sun. And so by Wednesday, I was like, oh yeah, we've had 2 days of thawing. My road's clear as could be. I'm gonna go pick up my kids at my friend's house and like freaking took the back roads like a dum-dum and slid off the road slowly and controlled, slid into a ditch, got myself back on the road, slid down a hill, had to be like, this is not going well. I did get to a hill that I could not slide down. It was still had trees all over it and it was a utter, like nobody had attempted it. And I was like, yeah, can't go that way. Had to call my husband, get rerouted to the main highway. But I was like, dang, again, I take for granted that Charles has just cleared our roads since the beginning. Like I've just been able to get out on my roads, but these people back here
She's spoiled.
can't get out. I'm very spoiled. But yeah, that's some lessons from the freeze. And yeah, we're about to head into another really cold weekend, and I'm trying to fly out on Tuesday. So hopefully we're going to get some podcasts out while I'm gone, but we will be in different locations on other sides of the country for a week. We're gonna attempt it. We'll see what happens. Of course, if there's major events, we'll be here. On that note, I did want to talk briefly about some current events, and then we're actually going to talk about a kind of theme or concept that is a little more lighthearted for today. But the SAVE Act is something we need to be looking at and paying attention to. And I believe it's in the Senate. I should have done some more research about it, frankly, but I believe it's in the Senate and actually picking up some good steam as far as there's some optimism around its ability to be passed. Of course, I don't know if it's already passed the House or if it has to go back down. I'm not really sure what's
But it
happening
got
with it
voted out of committee, like
in the Senate.
in the
So it would
Senate,
be in the Senate first and then head to the
think.
House.
I think.
Yeah, different bills originate in different places, but they always have to go to the opposite house. But this would be a really important one because it's to do with election integrity, and specifically, first-time registrants would have to prove citizenship. That's obviously something that we need. It would also federalize ID laws, I believe, meaning you have to show ID to vote. Now, again, in the same spirit of what we've been talking about on the podcast regarding our weariness towards federal anything, and like we got to be cautious when we root for something to be federalized. You know what I mean? Because the Constitution does give the power to manage and navigate elections to the states. So I don't know how it would be phrased or positioned to not be in conflict with the Constitution in that regard. But the other issue is, and this is something that we sued on in 2020 and didn't apparently have standing. There was a lot of that issue in 2020 election, the lack of standing, according to the courts. But when one state is administering their elections in a very willy-nilly way, it disenfranchises another state when you're talking about a federal position, right? Like the president, well, particularly the president, that would be the only federal position that all of us are voting on. But yeah, if one state is allowing illegals or not allowing signature verification or whatever, and it sways an election as it often does, that's not really fair. So I'm mixed on this as far as, allowing the federalization of something that the Constitution generally protects for the states. But again, it's very similar to the ICE issue. We have such a problem that I don't know how to fix it without federal engagement.
I got this brilliant idea.
Let's hear it.
I'm calling it the 3/5 compromise.
Go on.
We count the illegals, but only as 3/5 of a vote. Okay.
Brilliant. Who would
And
have thought?
it just came to me.
Just came to you. You're such an originalist. Um, yeah, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. We're just gonna go back to the old way of thinking about it, that if you are a citizen, you get a vote. Oh, what a wild concept. But again, I also had the thought that like this fraud in Minnesota, the, tax dollar fraud is not detached from election interference or election fraud. These things go together, right? This is the mechanism being used by the left, and by this I mean illegal immigration is the mechanism that is being used by the left to as a weapon in many capacities. Obviously as a weapon to defraud the taxpayer, obviously as a weapon to defraud the voting system, to, cast multiple ballots. It's also a tool to get more seats uh, based on your population. Obviously, California, if they did not count illegal aliens in their census, then they would lose a lot of seats in the House, which of course would limit and dilute
Diminish their
their
current
power
power. Yeah.
over the rest of the states. So there's a reason why the people on the ground, the useful idiots, are being deployed in the nature that they're being deployed. This is not something to do with morality. This needs to be very clear. Just a couple of days ago, there was an 11-year-old girl that was raped and killed by an illegal immigrant. You did not hear a single leftist talk about it, right? And the left likes to do this with us too. They like to say, you didn't care about this when this was happening, blah, blah, blah. But again, this is not about we're just really devastated when bad things are happening to good people. It is not that. It is a propagandized, weaponized, we use your empathy and we send you out in a specific way to get a specific result. And these people that are going and impeding ICE are tools to that end, right? The reason why this is being weaponized in the way that it is, or I should say, we cannot let mass deportations continue, according to the leftists, is because this is the tool they use in so many different ways. Do you see what I'm saying? In so many different capacities. So on the flip side, it is the very thing the right has to be very focused on eliminating. It is you've heard of the replacement theory, perhaps, which is like the left is using immigration as a way of diluting citizen votes because they just racistly assume that every single illegal that comes into this country is automatically going to vote for them. They're not wrong a lot of the time, but again, that's their school of thought, is the more we can bring in non-citizens, the more they're going to vote for Democrats, the more that we're going to be in power.
Also, the replacement theory, since you brought it up, is about diluting like the Western values because they're doing it in Europe
it's
too.
A form of conquering.
Yeah. And so it isn't like when you talk about replacement theory, you're automatically labeled like a white supremacist, a racist, because you're even mentioning the fact that something could be about race or something. But
it's the wildest thing.
It's really not about replacing white people. It's about getting human beings,
getting rid of America,
to give up Western values that have allowed for places that have such incredible individual liberties like the United States, or allowed for things like free market capitalism to flourish, for those things to be put away once and for all, and replaced by people who are willing to be subjugated and willing to be made useful idiots when necessary.
So I think anything, again, this is why we cannot blink, sadly, on the immigration issue. We have to continue mass deportations. And I was listening to Matt Walsh, love him or hate him, yesterday. He's a little extreme for my taste, which is what makes him entertaining, right?
He's not extreme enough for my taste.
Just like my husband is a little extreme for my taste, but entertaining all the same. And he was like, there is no way, if you are here illegally and we've given you money and free flights to leave and you haven't left, well, then the only way for you to go is to take you kicking and screaming. Truly, that is the options we are left with. So there is no pretty way to enforce immigration law. Also, I think it's really important, we don't say this enough. ICE and the new move of this administration, they have implemented exactly 0 new laws. They are just enforcing existing laws that have always been there. They are now choosing to enforce the laws. And I say choosing to, again, we've spoken lots of times about this is a joint effort from Democrats and Republicans to get us into the problem that we're in, where we have millions and millions of illegal immigrants here. So now all we're doing is enforcing laws. That's it. It is not, there are not new laws. Okay. That is something that needs to be, because there's this new chat about Nuremberg laws or Nuremberg trials. Have you heard this recently? That people are calling for Nuremberg trials over this ICE situation. And I'm like, this is the stuff that makes me go 0 to 100 in my livid brain of like, uh, okay. Like I literally get so angry. Nuremberg trials over enforcing existing laws that nobody had a problem with. And again, they've been recently bringing up how Obama is actually he deported more guys than Trump even has at this point. And of course, Tom Homan was also under him, right?
Yeah.
I think he was like the face of the Obama administration deportation effort back then. Again, nothing new. This is not new. This is why it's proof that this is not a moral high ground that someone is taking. This is the same laws just being enforced in a different way. And Obama was doing it. Nobody had a problem with it. It's just more Trump derangement syndrome, just more weaponized empathy, just more propagandized, useful idiots being sent out into the street for a different, bigger issue. So spare me. But Nuremberg trials, do we all remember what the Nuremberg trials were about? They were about Nazis doing
But we're
inhumane,
Nazis, honey. Everyone's a
yeah,
Nazi.
well,
Okay.
experiments. No, see where I'm going. Experiments on humans was a big element of the Nuremberg trials. Do we remember just 27 minutes ago? This feels like when all the January 6ers were like, how dare you riot, when we had come off of literally 3 months with countless deaths, billions of dollars of destructions of riots on the left that were called peaceful protesters, and months later January 6th is called something different, or
You
worse
poop
than
on Nancy
worse
Pelosi's
than the
desk
Civil
one
War.
time and people lose their
I mean, that's
minds.
what I'm talking about. So just 27 minutes ago, we were literally forcing an experimental quote unquote vaccine on everybody. And that was not worthy of Nuremberg trials. But enforcing existing laws, you know what I'm saying? This is where
It's the useful idiots. And they will,
oh my gosh. And
they
the
will
people that are regurgitating
exterminate
it.
you given the chance.
Oh, they are. There's, yeah.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Right.
We have participated in the mass extermination of people. That's what I'm getting at. We have. They have been given the chance, and a lot of people got in line for their free donuts and got
It was
themselves
those fries, those burgers and
exterminated. A
fries.
lot of people. Sadly, and if there is to be Nuremberg trials, and I'm about it, let's keep them appropriately targeted at people who are doing things that the Nazis did. That's all I'm going to say about that. I just really get freaking animated when people are so ridiculous and cannot see how ridiculous and absurd it is. But okay, there was something else. Oh, the SAVE Act, going back to that. We need to learn about it. Myself, I need to learn about it. We're going to talk about it again. In relation to election integrity, I'm really excited and glad that we are not just moving on from the 2020 election. Granted, it is 2026, and we're finally getting some accountability and some admittance from Georgia as an example of, yep, it actually was very fraudulent and everybody was right the whole time. You know what? I feel like we just got to wait a little longer.
I'll
on
take
the
some
Epstein
Nuremberg
thing.
trials for that too.
We'll get around to it. Everything has just such a slow burn before you actually get accountability. So there's still hope. But in Georgia, obviously, again, Georgia is under 2 Republican leaders. Okay. Brad Raffensperger, whatever you say it, and freaking Brian Kemp is the governor. And they were both presiding over the 2020 election. And they still freaking say, even despite the recent disclosures, that it was a perfectly fine election. And just because there was illegal ballots filed does not mean that they were fraudulent. Wow. but they have refused to turn over their tabulators, their, to the FBI for investigation looking into the 2020 election. These are Republicans have refused to do it. Well, the FBI, Cash, I'll give you credit where credit's due, and I don't give you very much because you haven't done very many good things. But I'm very glad to hear that we saw, and you know who was there? Miss Tulsi. Tulsi Gabbard was there. A raid on the
Election
warehouse, whatever,
yeah.
where all of these things were stored, and all of those pieces of evidence were taken in. Well, whatever hasn't been destroyed, let's be real, were taken into the custody of the FBI. So again, optimistic that we will maybe find. They already have discovered that there's however many countless tabulator. That you're supposed to have. The tabulator is like, this is how many votes went in, and this is, there's like lots of different things that are supposed to be checks and balances. Of course, all kinds of pieces of everything are missing. This has got to be rectified like as soon as possible, because and again, I'm so mixed here. We have the midterms coming up in less than a year. And if we don't have elections, we have no mechanism to fix the problems if we don't have elections other than bullets, right? I mean, we have this system and we have that system, and I don't want to operate in that system. So we have to fix this system, or at least do everything humanly possible to rectify this system, so that, like we said in our January 6th episode, we can look our children in the face and say, I did everything I possibly could before the worst case scenario.
Before I started blasting.
I did it all. I tried every possible thing before I signed you up for military service, because frankly, it will be on our children. It won't be on us. It will be on our children. So
there's also something to be, I want to point this out because this is what we do on this Modern Watchmen podcast, is when we have systems that allow us to solve our problems peacefully. That's fundamentally, in a lot of ways, a democratic process subverts an ability for just the strongest, meanest, worst people to take power, right? Because there are plenty of places on this globe. That's right, I said globe. That
is that referring to round Earth?
You pick. There are plenty of places on Earth that's who's in charge, is whoever's got the most weapons and is the most willing to kill anyone that would stand in their way.
That's why we've talked about how America is in charge and why the dollar is dominant, because it is backed by violence.
Well, I guess what I want people to remember is, like, that's why we vote. That's why we have an election system. That's why the integrity of voting is important, is because if we blow it with this system, then we revert to a lot of other options. I'm not saying it will be automatically violence, but like,
no, it'll be violence from us against them, or it'll be violence from them against us. Those are the options.
So what I'm getting at here is when somebody is willing to subvert that system and cheat, on a pretty much any scale, but such a grand scale, they are, in my mind, it is a much, 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 much worse crime, because it isn't just that they're like cheating on a test. They are endangering all of us. They're plunging all of us back into a system where we have to kill each other to decide who's in charge. And that is horrible. I use an analogy of, there's sometimes the crimes, like, I use this analogy where, if a guy kicks your door in, and in your house, you're sitting in your living room with your family, and he kicks the door in and comes in your house and points a gun at you and tries to rob you all. You pull your gun and shoot the man. It's like there's the crime of him, like, kicking your door in and robbing you. But in a way, the worst crime is that he made a good man do evil things. And I think that's that's not like a crime that is on the books. It's more of just a morality and sort of a philosophical
Right.
thing. But like that in the world we live in, which is not just a physical world, is a spiritual world, right? That, someone who would be willing to throw out the integrity of our voting system and plunge us into potential mass violence, that's one of the most evil things you can do, is what I'm saying. You're basically taking something that has become a way to avoid evil and avoid
Those atrocities.
those atrocities, avoid violence, and plunge good people into a world of violence. And so I know I'm getting a little bit into the weeds, but I just think these intricacies are so important to understand, because sometimes we just go, well, why is it important that, I know you all agree that it's important that, like, we maintain fair elections. But I just want to, like, kind of dive in a little bit to the
Consequences.
the reason why it's so important, Absolutely.
So we have a midterm coming up. We've got to be involved in voting. We've got to make sure that the SAVE Act goes through, that there is, on the state level and on the federal level, movement in election integrity. This is an ongoing thing. You have to be engaged. It's super important. But I am optimistic about that. That would be a big deal. If we lose the House, which it is very likely, that is a very real possibility. It's actually probable. We are completely gridlocked for the rest of Trump's presidency. And again, I am the biggest critic of Congress. I don't even want to say that out loud, like the fact that we have to win, make sure we maintain the House, because I'm like, what does that even mean? What has it meant for the last year? Not a whole freaking lot, because I could just
Almost
go
nothing.
off on expletives as to how absolutely useless, sold out, corrupt, and frankly evil the entirety of Congress is. There, I'll say
With
it.
few exceptions.
Very few.
Very
Fewer.
few. Singulars.
Fewer by the second. But at least they're not currently impeaching Trump. At least they're allowing him to put in executive orders.
You could actually make an argument, and I've heard people kind of make this argument, that let the election system go, let us plunge into violence, because some people believe that might be the only way to purge the system of these evil, treasonous sellouts. And
Epstein tied up.
All of it. And I mean, the fact that, like, our Congress people would sit on their hands when it's time to save America, there's so much.
Are not running for Congress is also egregious. The fact that we are not going there to get these people the heck out of there in the system is, it's also, it's hard. This is hard stuff. I'm not saying that somebody else needs to go do it. No, I know. I've almost run for Congress before. I don't know what God has for me.
Look, I made a solemn vow to myself the last time I left Washington, D.C. Okay.
Tell me about it.
I'm kind of joking. Just
that you were going back, or you?
I said I'm only coming back here for one reason, and it'd be
to run for Congress.
To run
for or at Congress.
To cross the Potomac.
So, yeah, we just need more. We need more from the citizenry. There was something else.
No, if Trump invited me to the White House, I'd make an exception. I'd go. Okay. Actually, I have been back to. Didn't we go back? We went back to DC after January 6th. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Pivoting. Although I feel like there was more I want to say. Can't remember. This year, we've talked about it. We're going to keep talking about it because.
Hold on.
Oh, hold on.
Two things. I feel like it's important that we keep updating people. But first, you've heard my joking around about Cuba being next in Trump's crosshairs.
Election.
And there is a lot of, like, military buildup towards Iran at the moment. He did say that there would be regime change by the end of the year in Cuba. He already cut off the Venezuelan oil to Cuba. And he basically instructed Mexico to cut off their oil to Cuba, and allegedly they only have like 14 to 15 days worth of like petroleum products in Cuba right now.
How many
And
people live in Cuba?
that's a good question. I'm not sure, but as much as you got to remember, like the Cuban people have been oppressed by a communist regime. They are some of the greatest people. I'm glad we're having this opportunity. Cubans who have come
Yeah,
to
for
America
sure.
have been exemplary examples
Americans.
of what immigrating to America looks like. Cuban Americans are, I'm sure there's other great groups too. I'm not trying to pick, but like, they know what an incredible opportunity this place is. They don't need welfare or all these, different programs to sit on for years. All they wanted was a chance, and they embrace America. They embrace American values, and they're proud of their cultural heritage of being Cuban and American, which is also part of being American. It's okay to have that, but they are American, and they're not trying to prop up a communist regime behind them in Cuba and send money back to Fidel. They're coming here for an opportunity. They want to bring the rest of their family here. And so all that to say is that the Cuban people, similar, if not worse than the Venezuelan, are currently a very oppressed people. They are a wonderful group of people. They have great values that fit well and assimilate well in America and in the West. They are a nation that needs an opportunity to and could contribute immensely to North America when they have not, the community of countries in North America, and they have not had that opportunity for 70 plus years or so, 60 something years. So it's a great thing. And as much as I have joked about Cuba becoming a U.S. territory, which I am not opposed to, and I'm not, at the same time, I am also just for them being liberated from the Castro regime, one way or the other.
You said two things. Is there another thing?
That was all I have for that. Two things in one thing.
Okay. We're pivoting to, like I said, we have talked about it already. We're going to keep talking about it. The 250-year, would we call it a birthday or anniversary of the United
Whatever you
States
want,
of
but
America? Probably birthday. It was birthed.
yeah,
Yeah.
anniversary seems like, yeah. I don't know.
was
You could say
married.
both.
Yeah, I guess.
250th.
That's a big deal. That's a pretty significant, actually. And it feels weighty in that it could be the last one.
I was just waiting for that.
Or, it's a celebration of look how far we've made it.
It's kind of like a smoke 'em while you got 'em situation,
Could be.
Might be your last
It
cigarette.
does feel very like, well, this could go either way. But we are fully embracing it. Trump is calling it the super centennial, which is so great. No, you don't like it?
I love it.
Super centennial. It's alliteration. It's like spicy.
Is that alliteration? Super centennial?
Well, it sounds. I don't think alliteration. I think it just requires that the sounds are the same.
What part sounds the same though?
Super centennial.
Oh, the
That would
S's.
be
Okay.
alliteration.
I was like, ooper and tennial? That's not
I'm the
alliteration.
writer. Tom's not so much of the literary.
Look, I'm usually the
devices.
rhymer, okay?
This alliteration
Apparently
is not
not.
rhyming. That's different. That would be like
Whoa.
the forest frog. That's alliteration. Right there. Okay.
Okay.
The
Well, the
summer
old
sun.
the old S and C alliteration is new to me. Okay.
Well, it sounds.
I know.
Okay. Anyway, we're excited about that, and we are planning a extraordinarily epic couple of things to celebrate the super centennial. One, you guys should follow us on Instagram at Great American Goldens because we breed golden retrievers. And as it stands, we are starting the year with a new mama Crimson. We've had her for a year, and she is pregnant with her first litter, and she is having the national park litter.
Oh
So
wait, she's doing national parks,
she's gonna do national parks.
not battles.
Scar will do battles. Well, what, you want to do battles first?
I don't know. I
Okay,
hadn't
well,
decided that. I
you
didn't know we had
spoiled
decided this.
it. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Scarlett, our other mama, this will be her final litter. So we have our first and our final litter. I've said that
Her
before.
final battle.
Is going to have a litter. She's literally currently being bred right this
She's
second.
her litter is literally, what is that?
That's also alliteration.
That's more than.
Wow, that was
Oh,
intense. Alliteration, and
that's literally alliteration.
it is so big.
Man,
Oh
we
my
just like
gosh.
tie these things up with bows
I
sometimes
can't.
for
You're
our
welcome.
audience.
You're just welcome.
It's
Uh,
incredible.
she is being bred, and so we will have a litter right after this litter, and she will be American Battles. That litter will be American Battles. So, first of all, we have lots of ideas, but by all means, come at me. Wendycunningham at protonmail.com, or put them on my Instagram or whatever, with your ideas of great names for puppies that are either national parks or battles,
Preferably
battles.
American battles, preferably ones we kicked butt
American
in.
battles.
Well, if there's like a battle good enough, I would consider it.
Well,
But no, it really should be an American battle
this is the Super Centennial.
that
Also,
ideally don't come at me with Custer. Okay. That one didn't go well for us. All right.
but it's a cute name.
I know, but I feel like we should.
Did Bunker go well for us? Because Bunker is happening.
Oh man, maybe we'll take our losses too. I
Yeah,
don't
we'll
know.
take our losses because we didn't quit at our losses.
That's good. Okay.
know?
We didn't quit. We're
We
not.
kept going. Okay, so Great American Goldens, we're doing national parks, and we're doing American Battles, which is super fun. And just so you know, in case you don't, what's his name? Stud? Is that what you call him? Our stud is named Copper. However, his official AKC name, we got him in 2022. Mind you, we were still very much reeling from the 2020 election. So we named him Donald J. Trump the third, meaning the third time he would win an election, in 2024. So his name is Donald J. Trump the third, 2024, on his AKC paperwork, because we named him that as a prophetic.
Because we called
name.
it. Okay. Because we
We're
knew.
like, Trump is going to win for the third time in 2024, of which he did. And now we are in the 250th birthday of our country with Donald J. Trump the third, 2024, having his final litter with his first dame, Scarlet, and his first litter with his second dame, Crimson, on the 250th anniversary. So we are going all American over here. And
No, we've been all American.
well, we're
Okay.
going extra all American.
You just couldn't get more American than this.
Additional
And then-
all American.
And
if we
then this
want to
happened.
keep the alliteration going. Additional American
American.
alliteration. And we're not done, because one thing that we really love to do as a family is road trip around this great nation, which when we got together, I had traveled a lot of Europe, and my husband has still never been to Europe.
But I have traveled a lot of
He
America
has traveled a lot of America. And
because
so,
I'm American.
yes. And I was liberal when we met.
There you go.
So there you
Says it
go.
all.
So we have pivoted, and we have now been with our children to 44 states in the camper. Well, with the exception of Hawaii, we have been there, but not in our camper. But we are going to collect a few more states off that list. We have like random states. Like we haven't been to Louisiana, although Tom and I have been. We have not been with our kids in the camper. We have not been to Wisconsin, Nebraska, Kansas. Somehow we're missing that like little
North
strip.
Dakota.
And North Dakota. So we will be adding in Wisconsin, North Dakota, and Kansas. Maybe Nebraska. We might be getting
Yeah,
all
no,
of
well, we
those.
could get them all, I think.
Okay. Well, then we'd just be left with Louisiana,
Louisiana.
and Alaska. So we're
Luckily,
collecting.
those are right next door to each other.
Be able to swoop those. We are going on a very lengthy road trip at the end of the year, paid for and supported by these
God
wonderful
willing.
Goldens. Yes,
Okay.
God willing, absolutely. to see a lot of national parks, ones that we have seen, ones that my kids have been to but don't remember because we've taken them so many places before they even remember them, and some brand new ones that I've not been to, some you've been to, some you've not been to, right? We're going to do a little bit of everything.
I have not been to Theodore Roosevelt National Park. I've
Yeah,
not
what are
been
the ones
to
we're going to? Theodore Roosevelt National Park,
Mount Rushmore.
Glacier.
Well, let me do it in order.
He's got
Okay.
the order.
I've got
Go.
the order. Theodore Roosevelt National
None
Park
of us have been
in
to.
North Dakota. I'm actually pretty pumped about that. Then we're going to go down to the Black Hills, Mount Rushmore.
We've been there plenty of times. Love
But
it.
you got to do it on the
So
Super
great.
Centennial.
So good.
And then we're going to go over to Yellowstone. On the way to Yellowstone, we're going to go to,
before Glacier.
as of right now, yes. Because of Banff. You're getting ahead. See, going to Yellowstone because, it's like
It's
the
one.
ultimate
It's the number
national
one.
park. On the
That's
way
where we got
there,
engaged
that's amazing. It's a great place to get engaged.
at Old Faithful.
So
we're taking our
we
kids
might
back.
do a reenactment. That would be fun.
That would be weird.
I'm doing it. That's so good. I can't wait.
To not give me a ring and give me a new ring? I'm in. Let's do it.
We'll see.
Okay.
Buy an ice cream.
Okay.
But we're gonna go to the Buffalo Bill Museum in Cody, Wyoming, on the way to National Park, which
Tell
is
them about that.
it's supposed to be like one of the greatest museums in the world.
Well, we
And-
were in Cody, Wyoming many a year ago, and we didn't go, and I didn't realize I should have pushed for it because I was like, yeah, we can go or not, and we were like, let's not go, and it's been just a regret.
It's been one of those things where I'm like,
How did we not go?
we have to go if we get the chance to go back there, because you never know in life, nothing's guaranteed. I was
That's
like,
for
we
sure.
gotta go there. It's highly
We have a
recommended.
collective bucket list as a family on our fridge and go to the Buffalo Bill Museum in Cody, Wyoming. It's on it.
Again,
Along with go to an African safari.
well, the Buffalo Bill Museum is ultra American.
I'm happy to check.
That's
it
for sure.
We're gonna go.
Then we're going from Yellowstone north to Glacier,
Which we've never been to. None of us.
right? Then we're going to visit the 51st state of Canada,
Alberta
specifically, the greatest of the Canadians. And we're going to see Banff.
Because it's fun to say. Banff. I find it very fun. I can't wait to say it so many times while we're there.
We'll figure out how to alliterate that.
It's Big Banff.
And then we're going to go to Olympia National Park. It's a little bit of a ways there.
Yeah. We might go to British Columbia, or we might come back down into the top of Idaho. So if you have a preference, if you've been, please tell, because we don't know.
Sandpoint, Idaho versus British Columbia, east of Vancouver area. Let us know your recommendations. And this would be like late August, early September time frame.
Start of school. We're starting off the year of homeschool. Boots on the ground.
We're just such great Americans. It's incredible. Okay.
Our kids will be. That's for
sure. I'm going to strive to be the greatest American I've ever been
to equip
in the Super Centennial.
To fight for this country than to just show them how cool it is.
I mean, you gotta fall in love with it to know what you're fighting for.
So true.
And Olympia National Park a little bit. That'll be on the coast of Washington.
Which that's a little bit, we've been there before. It's a little bit sentimental for us because it was a very cool, fun road trip that we went on before we came out to.
It was actually kind of an exploratory trip of are we going to become communists in Washington? We decided not to do that.
You knew, you went before us. Also, it is the site of one of the biggest crimes committed upon me by my husband in our camping road trip world, which is when he exploded our camper toilet in my face.
In our son's face.
Negligently, I should say.
She never talked back to me again.
Oh, a poop volcano.
As if that was true.
A poop volcano happened in my face. That's a story for a different time. This is the joy of road tripping. These are the memories you hold dear. So we have to go redeem that.
Then we're going to go to Lassen National. Then we're going to go to Lassen National Park on the way down to like Tahoe area, visit family. Then we're going to
We
go
might stop in McMinnville.
maybe,
That's a fun spot.
and then we might go to, or then we're planning on going to Zion.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What?
Now you're just jumping around.
Tahoe.
Yeah, Tahoe, and then Yosemite.
Oh, Yosemite. See, I'm still up.
We're not near.
I'm not even sure if we should attend any national parks in the state of California.
No. California has the most beautiful stateness of it that is being ruined. Again,
Well,
the whole point of this trip is to help my children appreciate what we're fighting for. So we fight for California along with the rest of this great nation, and because of its
it's
beauty.
kind of like Cuba. There should be a trade embargo on it until there's regime change.
That's fair.
Okay. So either way, we may go to Yosemite and then to Zion,
Well, yeah, then we're going to be dropping down into the
then to Bryce.
Mecca. Zion, Bryce, Arches, and then we have a choice to make if we're going to go to Mesa Verde, which I really feel like we are.
I think we're going there, yeah.
You do?
I think so. We haven't done enough research yet, but I guess the audience doesn't necessarily care about the entire itinerary
Well, I
as
was gonna
much
say,
as
is Mesa Verde, if you've been there, worth it? And the other option would be to go like north to this like mid to southern part of Colorado, not necessarily hit another national park. Or is there another national park up there?
well, I
There
thought
is.
about Great Basin, going back to Great Basin, but I thought, it might just be a
Don't you have
little
to
much.
backtrack? It's
Well,
in
no,
Nevada.
I meant like mostly because we're going down to Yosemite, then we're committed down that way, and then it would be backtracking if we were leaving Minden, and
Yeah.
going.
Well,
But whatever.
and then we'll basically after Mesa Verde just be picking up those central states like Kansas, Nebraska, and come on back as fast as possible to get back to our life and our
But I
in-laws.
do like
So
think
we're going to be taking our Goldens, our great American Goldens, Donald J. Trump, and we're going to be possibly kicking off some epic social media and maybe petitioning for a golden retriever to be the national dog. Do we have a national dog? Is there
I
is
mean,
there
unofficially, it's the golden retriever.
It should be. It's on all the dog
Okay.
food bags. You don't see a Chihuahua on the dog food bag. Nothing against
No,
Chihuahuas.
nobody wants to see that,
So, we got a lot of good American wholesome
Well, I also
things
just want to
in
encourage
the
people,
docket.
and I mean, this might sound sort of corny or whatever, but like, I don't know if people still do road trips.
Besides us,
This is, just to be clear, this is the biggest one we've ever done. We have done many road trips, but it
and we've done big
might
road
sound like a
trips.
little like ridiculous to a lot of people because that's like a lot. I get it, but just encourage people of like just that old fashioned, like, back in the day, people would drive their family to a national park, or whether it's the Grand Canyon or Yellowstone or whatever, but to really
What time is it?
I remember when I was growing up as a high schooler, post high school, it was like the coolest thing to get out of high school and go take a year off and go backpack Europe. And that's great. That's my wife. She did all that.
I did.
And that's fine. I also think it's a lot of that generation grew up to magically hate America and think that Europe was
Way
like
cooler.
way cooler. And then all that stuff played out and they were embarrassingly wrong. Look at Europe today.
Mm.
And so I think I was very blessed to have the opportunity myself to tour around in a van and play music all over the country. And the coolest part is like, I didn't go to many national parks on that trip, but meeting the people, and I feel like I got to know like America as a person during that time because, the people in New Orleans are not the same as the people in Portland, Maine, and the people in Chicago, Illinois, and the people in New York, and like not all city people are the same. And the people who we met after a show and they let us sleep on their living room floor in rural South Carolina. I just think it's such an important thing that if we're going to survive and thrive as a nation, I think we got to get to know ourselves again a little bit, start to rediscover our identity a little bit, because we've tried to be European and we've tried to be more this and more that. And I think we just need to remember what it is to be American. And one way to do that, not the only way, is to show your kids America and to get out there and meet the people, your neighbors in other states, and to see some of these sites that are just, it isn't even all about America, because when I go to these places, I just think about my creator. These sites remind me of just God's incredible nature, imagination, power, and love for us, that he created these things for us to exist in and for us to be in awe of his creation, to inspire our recognition of him, of his going before us,
So all that to say, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, so you can watch our adventures unfolding and our puppies and all of the things. I'm at Raising Cunninghams and he's at TC Sells TN. And
name recommendations for national park puppies and battle puppies.
Can't wait to celebrate the super centennial. Follow, subscribe. Thank you. Thanks for joining us on the Modern Watchman podcast.
Remember, truth isn't just something we believe, it's something we live out every day.
Stay alert, stay discerning, and don't lose sight of the hope we have in Christ.
Until next time,
be watchmen.